G'day everyone, Haere mai, welcome to the show. It's Monday the 19th of June and tonight we come to you live from New Zealand. Yes, 100% pure New Zealand as the glossy ad describes it. It's just they never said 100% pure what? In fact, we were so impressed by our purity, we've updated the 100% pure TV commercial we play to people overseas. See if you can pick the bits we've added.
There is freedom within, there is freedom without. Try to catch the deluge in a paper cup. Hey now, don't dream.
A group of us have made a video about looking after our septic tanks. You might ask why. Isn't it rather yucky? Wouldn't we rather just forget about it? Wouldn't we rather flush our loo and just forget about what happens beyond that? Well, we can't. Septic runoff is one of the big reasons that our beaches get polluted. If we're going to have beautiful beaches and we're going to maintain our lifestyle and enjoy this island, we have to make sure that we take our responsibility and keep our septics running really, really well so none of our wastes end up down in the bays and in our swimming areas. So environmentally, it's really important that we look after our septic tank.
On the island, on Waiheke Island, we are totally dependent on the landowners having their septic units cleaned and cleared every 3 years. Without that, we cannot guarantee the sustainability of on-site waste disposal. Now, the alternative to that is reticulation.
If septic tanks fail, then we might be forced to have a reticulated system. A reticulated system is a series of big pipes, it's water-based, and all of our septic goes to a central plant for treatment. Now, if that central plant or any of the pipes along the way have some kind of failure, then all of that big amount of septage ends up down in the sea.
And reticulation throughout Waiheke Island would be hugely expensive. Immediately, all ratepayers would have their rates increased by more than double. There would more than probably be two charges, one the normal rates and then the one with regards to reticulation. If we have reticulation, the possibility for infill housing, high-rise apartments becomes less of a problem, because the wastewater is monitored and taken away to, once again, of course, it has to be taken away to a sewerage pond, so we can't get rid of it, it doesn't disappear, but it would mean that we could have 6, 7, 20-storey buildings. The whole of the very nature of this island would change immediately.
So while septic tanks can fail if they're not looked after well, at least it's a small contained breakout that can be treated and addressed, and we can ensure that there's not a lot of environmental damage. But all over New Zealand there are reticulated systems that have failed, and there have been big problems as a result.
And this is a 100% pure map of just some of the sewage incidents serious enough to gain media attention over the past 12 months. Now, most of us will live within a relatively short drive of at least one of these incidents.
Your septic tank is basically designed to collect the solid wastes that your house uses, like your toilet waste, kitchen waste, and laundry waste if your laundry is connected to your system. That builds up over the 3 years. If you want to put it into a simple context, you've just got to think of how many rolls of toilet paper the average house uses in a year, times that by 3, it's an awful lot. The liquid waste, as it's flushed down through your septic tank, the primary purpose of your septic tank is to settle those wastes out. Now, the slightly cleaner water comes from the outlet end of your septic tank, and that is passed to one of several forms of drainage field, which is in the back of your property somewhere suitable, and from there is a further treatment that goes on under the ground with bacteria breakdown of the water, and it's basically using nature to take that water up in the form of transpiration and evaporation.
With so many people living here now, and so many people with enhanced characteristics like big bathrooms, high pressure pumps, lots and lots of water, it's only natural that over time the water quality in the streams is going to get worse. I think there's 9 or 10 streams that go through the residential areas, and most of them exit out onto bathing beaches. So it's quite important that we monitor the water quality of those streams and take steps to overcome any problems that we might discover. Like, just for instance, if we have a septic tank that hasn't been maintained properly and it's beginning to fail, then it's likely that the effluent from the septic tank will end up in the stream.
Symptoms of a septic tank failure, they can relate from if you have a system that is a pump involved, you may have a pump failure which requires a pump replacement or an electrician repair. The standard gravity feed systems, what you'll first experience is wet, smelly areas where the water's not evaporating properly and it comes to the surface. That can get quite bad. It'll turn into a large black boggy area. Most of the symptoms are visual, and you'll definitely smell the odour.
A lawn generally has even growth, but where the wastewater comes close to the surface, the grass gets lush, and in some instances you can see where the nutrients in the wastewater have invigorated the grass to such an extent that it's long and lush and the rest of the lawn is comparatively short. Then that's an obvious spot to go and look to see whether there's any surface failure. The problem in the winter is that if the ground conditions are more saturated, then you can get overflows from your drains running through the topsoils and you don't even notice it. If you imagine that this cut pathway through here was a failed drain, it's quite possible for the effluent from the failed drain to run from that cut grass all the way down to the gorse bush there at the headwaters to the stream. It's a distance perhaps 70 to 100 metres. It's quite possible for effluent to travel that far underground.